Samia, I'm so excited to chat with you today to get to know a little bit more about you, your journey, and just really dive into your world. So I'd actually love to start off just to hear a little bit about Body Complete, and just hear about what that is, and then go into your journey. Like, how did you get to this point?
Absolutely. So Body Complete RX is a company that I formed out of my own journey of just really just getting back to myself after having 4 children, picking up a considerable amount of weight in my 4th pregnancy. I started sharing on social media in 2014 my weight loss journey to really just take off this 80 pounds that I had gained during my pregnancy. And in 2014, it was a different space in social media world. It was, people were just really just sharing authentically. It wasn't a marketplace at all. It was just really just raw footage. And I think that's where people, initially connected with me with that journey. And I ultimately went on to share that journey along with a mommy makeover journey. Mm-hmm. And then out of that journey also spawned a healthy lifestyle journey, because I quickly realized that, living a healthy lifestyle is not just about a one-stop shop. It's not about, just losing weight and then being done with eating healthy or drinking water. Like, oh, I'm at my goal weight, so now I'm not going to, eat properly. It's really a lifestyle, right? And so I started a new journey that I had all of my followers at that time following me on, which was just a healthy lifestyle journey. I started taking supplements. I was drinking proteins, and I started looking at the ingredients in some of the supplements I was using to help me manage my weight. And I noticed that they weren't plant-based. And I was wondering, I was like, well, could we maybe come up with something that is similar to this product, however, more effective and also safer for our consumers and for people like me. And so I connected with Dr. Ruby Lathan, who was our brand nutritionist, and we sat down with our laboratory and formulated what was our first products, a Body Complete RX, which were weight management products. And then we went on to we have over 22 SKUs. So we have products ranging from plant-based proteins to plant-based pre-workout, multivitamins for women and men. And what's really special, I think, about Body Complete RX that I don't really talk about enough, and that I think that, really should be known and heard, is that, our products are for everybody, right? Our supplements are made for every single person. However, they were made with people of color in mind. I'm a Black woman. My nutritionist is a Black woman who sat down and helped us form the formulas. And so when we looked at the formulas, there were things that, she added to the formulas, like sweet potato and beetroot. And those particular ingredients help with heart health and diabetes. And that's something that we face in the African-American community at higher rates, right? I mean, all races face that, but at higher rates. So just to take that into account, just all of our ingredients, all of our formulas were really looked at in a special way. We added ingredients. We took away things that we found that were not as clean as we would like them to be. Even though they were plant-based, they still weren't as clean. So we really worked hard on our formulas, and here we are today. And we're now at vitamin shops nationwide, which is really exciting. Our weight management.
That's last year, right? Like I think it was in August you guys launched. That's so exciting.
Yes, we launched in August 2021 at vitamin shops nationwide. And we launched first with our weight management products, because those are our most popular products. Those are products that consumers really know our brand from. And it started with that. And I always say, I feel like everybody, because that's how I started, right? A lot of people go on a healthy lifestyle journey, but it comes out of a weight loss journey. Because it's not until you're really trying to get healthy or lose weight that you start paying attention to calories and paying attention to what you're consuming. So, the first products at Vitamin Shop were the weight management products, and then our protein, which is our plant-based meal replacements, will be on shelves there starting in May. So we're really excited about that expansion as well.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. It's so exciting to see you, sort of grow. And I was checking out your social media and your Instagram, and you guys are huge. You're growing so much. I mean, what were some of the things that helped you build such a strong, like following and like, you know?
I really believe that it was just based on my journey and my authenticity. Again, the journey of Body Completer X and how I even got to Body Completer X and the full life journey of a wellness journey really started with my own dysfunction and trying to lose weight and
Yeah.
figuring out like, okay, well, mommy makeover, and is this going to work for me? And ultimately, it all came right back down to wellness, health, lifestyle. So a lot of people, I think appreciated that I was sharing, you know, just my honest journey from the very beginning and what that looked like for me and how that brought me to this place in my life today. And now today I say, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life. And I want to keep it that way. And I want to inspire others to do that as well.
Yeah. And so, sort of stemming off of that,
Mhm.
I think having rituals in our day to day life is so important because they actually help us keep grounded and they're things that we kind of do every day. And sort of what you're doing with your company is creating these moments where you can have rituals with yourself, whether it's having the supplements or the proteins. What are some rituals that you have in the morning and in I guess the evening that could inspire some people who are watching our chat right now?
Sure. So for me, it's really important for me to start my day with self-care.
Mhm.
Before I start anything, I have a very busy day. So usually my meetings start at 9 and don't end until 5. So I make the time to get up at 5 a.m. every morning.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I spend an hour of Bible study first. That's my first thing that I do, Bible study and devotion. So, everybody, depending on your spirituality, maybe it's meditation. But for me, it's Bible study and devotion the first hour at 5 a.m. And then I get ready for my workout, and I work out typically at 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m., or 8 a.m. But I'm always done with my workout around 9 a.m. and go into my meetings. And then another thing that I really stress and that a lot of people know about me is that I'm very stickler about getting my rest and sleep. So I get in bed. I'm typically in bed about 8 o'clock
Wow.
night if I can be. But
Dream.
it's
That is a
very much,
dream.
but it's so important. I do have a schedule. It's so important to me. I used to live a lifestyle where I didn't have a schedule. Things were chaotic, so those are things that are very important to me. The way that I wake, the way that I start my day and the way that I end my day are very important to me. And then also the way that I start my week, every Sunday I have a whiteboard that I scrub off every Sunday. And I write, and I have on one side of the whiteboard, it's my yearly goals, right? I have a list of
Mm.
all the goals that I want to attain in 2022. And on the left side of the whiteboard, I write down what I need to do that week that is kind of nipping away at that yearly goal, right? So that to me has also been helpful. So, I would suggest that as well, because that to me keeps you focused and it also keeps you always moving along. Because even as business owners, sometimes we can get stressed out. It could be a lot of things that we're handling at one time. And so we can be in our heads a lot. So with doing that, that has found, I'm always making progress because I know that I'm always nipping away. I'm always nipping away at that goal.
Yeah, and that's a great reminder. I do the same thing, but I have like a chalkboard that I just stick on my wall,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I just write all my goals there. So like every day I wake up, it's just right there. And I think when you have something that's in front of you that you can't like ignore, it just forces you to remember, and it like reminds you like, okay, like I need to do this to accomplish this goal.
Yeah.
How do you manage these rituals with having 4 kids?
Well, that's why I like to say it's a choice. You make a choice to really take the time and space in your life. Like me getting up at 5 a.m. Some people are like, oh my goodness, that's so early. But I have to, right? Because
Yeah.
I have children, I have adult children. Actually, my oldest daughter is in college. But my second oldest daughter, she's a senior in high school. And we
Mhm.
actually get up some mornings and I go to the gym with her at 5 a.m. to practice basketball. Um,
Wow.
she's in her senior year and playing basketball and looking to get recruited in college basketball. So you make time for what's important in your life. I've always been that way. I'm 40 years old. My story is, very unique. I had children in my first child when I was 20 years old. I was a, sophomore in college. I had I was married and had 3 children by the time I was 25, but I also had my
Wow.
master's degree by the time I was 25 as well. So you make sacrifices and you make room for what you really want in life, and that's the way I've always been.
Wow. And I think that really, tells us how you probably run your company. So going back into that a little bit, when you were thinking about this concept and you wanted to bring it to life, what were some of the first steps you took? Because I know some of the people who are watching right now are also like founders or like aspiring entrepreneurs, or maybe people who just like food who are like intrigued.
Mhm.
What were some of the first steps that you actually took to make your vision come to life?
Well, the first step I actually took was just starting to do research into how supplements are made. Like, where does one find a laboratory? And do you have to have your own big giant laboratory yourself? And I quickly discovered that that's not the case, and that there are laboratories and manufacturers that you can work with and talk to and tell them exactly what your need is. And so that's what I did in the very beginning. I had my nutritionist and I went to my laboratory and I said, this is what I kind of want to do. And can we do something like this? And they said, yeah. Now, initially, and I was talking to a friend about this the other day, because what people, don't know, I started very small. I started with a $5,000 investment. That was all that I had at the time to really put into my business. And I started with a very small investment, a very small order of products.
Mhm.
And I've just continued I sold that $5,000 worth of product and bought more and bought more and bought more, and have grown the business to a multi-million-dollar business today, just with that, without any investors or any support. So what I would say is like, start wherever you are. If you believe in yourself and believe in your products, if you have to start small. I made a post yesterday and said that a lot of my early supporters were supporting me when I couldn't even afford for my laboratory to place the labels on my products. They used to
Mhm.
bottle them for me and mail them to my home, and I used to have to hand label all of my products in the very beginning, because that was the place that I was in. So, to go back and remember those times. And when I talk to new entrepreneurs who are like, oh, I want to have the best website, and how I'm going to get this beautiful packaging, I'm like, look, I have rebranded 3 times. I started
Mhm.
really small, and I just want to inspire you to start wherever you are at. If you have a product, you have something that works, it's going to sell, because your consumer is going to use it. They're going to love it. They don't care the way it looks, right? It's you,
Yeah.
you're in your head about it, right? So start where you're at.
Okay. I think someone had told me this advice, like when you want to start a company, like don't skip any steps. Like you have to crawl and then walk and then jump and then fly. Like if you try to just go to the fly, you're not going to know, you're not going to have a good foundation. So I think it's really important, especially nowadays when entrepreneurs want to start companies. It's like hearing stories like yours. It's like you really have to start small, like take the baby steps. And going back to like investment. So you said that you invested $5,000 of your own money. And for entrepreneurs who are listening, there's a lot of talk about like raising capital and things like that. Tell us about your experience with that through your journey, and just kind of like everything that happened, like that helped you get
Certainly.
here.
So as you stated, yes, I started with a $5,000 investment in the beginning, and have since 2017, or late 2016, when I formed the company in early 2017, have continued to just reinvest in my brand and business. We're a multi-million-dollar business, but I tell people all the time, I don't have multi-million dollars in our bank, because we are constantly reinvesting, right? I've had several investors, looking to put money into the brand, into the business. And I can understand where you can go further, faster with a, big giant lump sum of money. But I also understand the side of taking an investment. It's very.
Oh no. Okay. I think she's back. Hold on, everybody. Just having some slight technical difficulties. Let's see. I think we'll just have her refresh. Hold Hold on tight. Don't go anywhere. I'm sure she'll be right back. Oh, okay. Just hang on just a few more minutes. I think she's just going to log back in. This happened before, where the signal was just being a little iffy. Well, while we're waiting, we've heard a little bit more about her story. So if you guys have questions, start putting them in the chat, because around in like maybe like 15 minutes, I'll probably start taking a look at them.
Sorry, I was
I think
kicked
she's
off.
back. You're back.
I'm back. I'm so sorry. I
Yay.
was kicked off. So I was talking about investors. I
Yeah.
think the last thing I was saying is I've had a few investors who are looking to invest in the brand, but also understand the other side of that, right? Because once you dip into that pond, it's
All right. We'll just wait.
uh-oh. You got me?
You're back. You're back. You're back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything I was saying?
We just heard the word investors, and then you.
Oh, and
So
then
we'll just start over.
Let's start over. Okay. So I was saying that, yes, I've had a number of investors who have wanted to invest in the company. And what I say to that is that, yes, there's nothing wrong with taking capital. There's nothing wrong with working with capital. And some people need that capital, right?
Yeah.
Some consumers, or not consumers, some startups and companies don't have the kind of capital that we've created, over this past several years, and just reinvesting in the brand. So if that's something that is an option for you and you need that capital, that's something that you might consider. If it's something that you may not necessarily need, but maybe it can get you a little further, faster, it might be something that you want to think about, because when you take on an investor, it's no longer just your company, right? It's your company plus your investor's company. And so it's not your voice anymore. It's your voice plus your investor's voice, right? And so it's a really serious thing. You got to make sure that you're being aligned with the right partners and the right investors who really believe in your brand and your mission, to make sure that, when you are accepting those kind of funds, that you're still going to see the brand that in your heart you're trying to build be that brand, right? So,
Yeah. So what was your journey? So have you taken any outside capital
no,
through your journey, or have you just invested your own money?
no, that's till 2022. We're still completely self-funded,
That is amazing.
yes. Every time I talk to investors, though, they're pretty much blown away by that, because they say by the time, normally when companies come to them for investments, by the time they're making the revenues that we're making, they have about 3-4 people in the pot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Investments. And so, they don't have really any say so at the cap table, right? So, so that's something that's really special as well, about the brand. And it's not to say that we, won't in the future, but at this point, I'm building, I'm reinvesting, I'm bootstrapping to this point, and hoping that, God will continue to keep us going.
I love that. So what are some challenges that you have found, like over the past couple of years, or challenges that you're facing right now, while you're building your company?
Absolutely. Well, there have been a number of challenges, I feel like, over the years. I mean, being a Black woman in the supplement space, the first Black woman to be building a brand of this magnitude in this supplement space is has been, I guess, a challenge, because, people are not used to seeing us. And so then it's like, okay, well, who is this Black woman to be making these supplements? And so, there's cause for questions, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. I mean, I guess every person who's like the first person to kind of be like the trailblazer in its space is going to have to like combat those things. And then people who come up after me, other Black women in this space, they may not have to deal with those same kind of things that, me going into conferences where, I'm not represented, and, maybe feeling uncomfortable and not represented in those spaces. So I feel like, maybe that has been a challenge. And also just, uh, I don't know, definitely growing self-funding is not easy. It's not easy because you're always looking at those numbers, right? But that's something that we're happy to have kept in house and keep going. So yeah.
And then going back to your products, what are some challenges that you're facing, if any, with like the production, especially during COVID? I know it's been hard for a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Has that impacted you or?
Absolutely. So it has absolutely impacted us and our brand. Our prices for like some of our raw materials have gone up this year. And we haven't changed the pricing for our customers yet. It's like, okay, we just got into the vitamin shop. Now we gotta go up $5.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how do you explain that to your customers? But it's a real life thing, right? Because it's a real life thing that we're experiencing and that I'm experiencing as a business owner, because that $5 times however many, that adds up, right? So
That's a lot.
yeah, so protein raw materials are up this year. Plant-based raw materials are up this year. And so that is a challenge in 2022, the fact that we're now paying more for our raw materials, but we're not charging more right now to our customers. And I'm praying that, after, through 2022, because I understand that this is like with everything that's going on in the world. So I'm praying that this goes away and that 2023 we can just go back to normal and we don't have to ever up the price for our customer.
Yeah, I am hoping that for you. And so in terms of what you see in the future of the wellness space, I know that a lot of people, especially during COVID, have become a little bit more self-aware about what they need to nourish their bodies with and things like that. So, we have seen a huge shift. But where do you see this space in this industry going, especially with supplements and what you're doing? And then I also want to know what is in the future for CBRX.
BCRX.
Oh, BCRX. Oh my God, I'm getting
it's fine. But no. So I definitely feel like this supplement space definitely will continue to grow. I mean, definitely what's going on with COVID, I feel like more consumers are realizing that being healthy, living a healthy lifestyle is not just about a notion, or it's not just something it's cute to do. It's about living. Like we're really out here trying to live. And that's important. And when you see that you have friends who, had illnesses that, I lost friends, and from COVID because of illnesses, pre-existing illnesses that they had, that caused for them not to be able to fight COVID properly. And so those things should wake everybody up, right? And say like, hey, we got to take care of ourselves better. So I definitely see the supplement space growing, wellness space growing, because I definitely see that consumers are taking more notice of it. For us with Body Complete RX, that's something that's really important for me and my brand. I say it all the time, and I may say it maybe too much, because I'd say to our consumers, like, this is not about a supplement. We are just an aid. I say it all the time, and I feel like I'm not trying to shoot myself in the foot by saying we're just an aid, but it's the truth. Supplements are just an aid. You have to do the work. You have to get up and say, okay, I'm going to take it today, right? Like, that's step number one. You can buy it and it can sit there on your counter, right? So you have to get up and make choices. You can say, I'm going to take it today. I'm going to go walk today. I'm going to drink some water today. I'm going to make choices that are going to give me the lifestyle that I want. I don't want to just take some supplements and then go about my day and not really create a lifestyle. And that's what this is about for my brand.
Yeah.
Which is why we really put that into, like, we have a weekly challenge that we do where we encourage those activities. And we don't even talk about supplements. It's all about the activities that we are trying to encourage in our brand, to help our consumers live longer. My stepfather passed of diabetes when I was 15. So I, head on know what it looks like for someone to neglect their health and it be preventable. So that's my mission, my passion. I feel like it's my ministry, and that's what I'm doing with Body Complete RX.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so what does the future of, your company look like? BCRX.
The future of Body Completer X. I pray that the future looks bright for Body Completer X. I'm working to continue to grow. I'm looking for innovation in our products, and so I'm always looking to launch like a new innovative product. Right now, I'm looking to launch a flagship store where you can actually come and work out. It'll be a gym slash smoothie bar. And so that's something that I'm looking to have open by the end of 2022. And yeah, just further expansion, further growth. I would love for my brand to one day be a globally recognized brand, household name.
I love that. So where would this flagship store be located for people who are watching?
In Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Yes.
That's so exciting. I'll definitely have to come visit when that happens.
Yes, I love that.
What product categories are you exploring that are new? Because I know you have supplements, you have protein powders.
Yes. So we'll actually be coming out with our a superfood bar. So we have a on-the-go superfood bar that has almonds, cherries. It's delicious. We'll be launching that in March. We'll also be launching a pre and post workout box. So it'll be a box that has 5 samples of our protein and 5 samples of our pre-workout. So, for people who work out often, that's kind of like you drink your protein, you drink your pre-workout, have your workout, and then you drink your protein. So it'll be in a sample pack box. That's something that I've never seen on the shelf before. So it's easy to use. And it's,
it's great to try.
Yeah, absolutely. With the samples. So just looking for ways to really make our products, usable in our consumers' lives, like easy to use, functional, all of that.
Love that. And going more towards, I guess, like inner work and what we're doing inside. I know being a founder can be really hard and challenging at some times, but it also can be very, satisfying and fulfilling. But how do you take care of your own mental health and like taking care of your like own well-being from like the inside, from like a mental health perspective?
Sure. I think I spoke on it a little bit earlier, but for me, it's about my relationship with God. And so when I spoke earlier about my first thing in the morning is my Bible study, then I move on to my workout. Those are the things that keep me, healthy. And when there's times that I'm stressed out, I also have a therapist. I encourage people to go to therapy. That is all a part of a healthy lifestyle. Talking to people is a part of a healthy lifestyle. So those are things that are important to me that, I have brought into my life, and I share that. I even share those things on my social media page. Sometimes I post things like I may post a Bible verse or some things, and I'm like, is this professional to share? But at the end of the day, this is what I do that helps me. And I'm just sharing it with the world, and maybe it might help someone else.
Yeah, and I definitely think being authentic, especially as a founder, is what helps companies grow, because like people want something that they can relate to, and that is incredible. If you were to go back to your 20-year-old self and give her some advice as she was going out, I guess, like into the world, what would like 3 things be that you would tell her?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. That is going to make me cry.
Oh no.
I don't even know how to answer that. That's a good question though.
Don't worry, we don't have to answer that.
Why?
It's okay. It's emotional.
It's very emotional for me because my 20-year-old self was a new mom, a sophomore in college. My parents were concerned that, I had a baby early, and, my dad was not happy about that at all. And so I guess what I would tell my 20-year-old self is, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. My life's journey has been amazing. Everything, the ups, even the downs, because the downs have taught me so much. Like who I am today, I know it's because of the things that I've experienced in my early 20s. So, and even in my early 30s and today. So that's what I would tell myself. Like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be
Yeah.
okay. You asked me for three things. I don't give three things right now, but I guess the one thing I would say to me is, Samia, you're going to be okay. If I could go back to my 20-year-old self, that's what I would say.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. I'm
I think
sorry. Oh my,
no, 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 no. I think this is so
nobody
beautiful
ever
that
made me
like
cry. That was it.
we can be vulnerable here.
And I'm gonna make sure I tell my PR people, like, make sure nobody asks me that question again. Don't ask me that.
Well, I'm glad I asked you because I think everybody here who's watching can like understand it's a long journey to like start something, and I think you've accomplished so much, but I think the most important thing is just having faith in yourself and just believing that you can do it, and that regardless of what happens, the process, whether it being good or bad, you're going to be okay and you're going to make it through. And so I think that that's beautiful, and that is a really, really important lesson for us, for you to share. Anyway, maybe I'll stop asking questions and I'll get some people from the
It's okay.
audience
It's
who are
okay.
listening. What do you all want to know from Samia? Let's see. I think I had a question before about
I did have a question about
your
Dr.
nutritionist.
Lathan.
Yes.
Yes. So Dr. Ruby Lathan, she is our brand nutritionist. She's not a partner in the company, but she is our brand nutritionist for the brand. So her role is whenever I'm developing a new product, she's brought in with our laboratory and the chemist in our laboratory to look at those formulas and make adjustments or additions as need be based on whatever I'm looking to develop.
Amazing. And how did you find her? I guess that'll be interesting.
I know, it's so funny. So she lives here in the DMV area, and I
Okay.
had market. I actually had a friend of mine who was a marketing exec who knew her from What the Health. She was featured in What the Health
Yeah.
documentary, and he connected me to her, and so that's how I was introduced to her.
That's amazing. So you just have to put yourself out there and the right people will
Yeah.
sort of come will
Well,
come to you.
yeah, the universe will work for you. God will work.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
There's a question from Michael. You mentioned a company bottling your product and you put the label on. How did you develop that connection?
Just with the research. So I was looking for laboratories. I started looking for laboratories to create for supplements. So I started doing research online and I found a laboratory to work with. And that's where I started having those formulas made, but I couldn't get them labeled there. So then they would make them there and then ship them to my home.
Okay. And how did you know that you could trust this company?
Well, they're a certified company. They actually do formulas for many companies that are currently on the market at Whole Foods, Vitamin Shop. A lot of people don't understand. That was one thing. That was the first thing I was saying. Like when I was thinking about making supplements, I'm like, do I have to have a lab myself? And what I didn't realize was that a lot of the supplements that we have are made in the same labs in the US. So the laboratory that I found, was a certified laboratory, NSF certified laboratory, and they were also partnered with other companies that are on the shelves currently at Whole Foods, Vitamin Shop, Target, whatnot. So just by doing research and making sure that the laboratory was very legit.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So actually, we have a ton of questions in the Q&A.
Yeah.
This is my first time using this platform. Okay. Could you share from Josh how you first created brand awareness for BCRX?
I think the first brand awareness was my personal journey.
Okay.
That's why I tell people my brand is really unique in how it started. Again, it started with my personal journey that I was sharing, my weight loss journey. Then I started sharing this mommy makeover journey. Then I started sharing like, okay, I was using supplements and getting fit. And then I started sharing that journey. So brand awareness really just came from, I was using the products. Then my followers saw my love for the products. Then I put the product out there and then they started using it. Then they created they had a love for the product. Then they started sharing with others. At first, our company, it was doing well. my followers. I think at the time I had like 150,000 followers personally on that particular page on social media. And I have been sharing over the years my journey, and consumers were buying the product. And I think we were probably making, maybe a little under $1 million in revenues a year, like that first year. And then once we were sharing the product, I think the real product awareness came when one of our ambassadors shared a product. So we had a celebrity ambassador who shared the product as well. She had been using the product. And that is when, like, I feel like more exposure to the brand. But also I say to people, because I've had people come to me and say, okay, well, I'll just go get a whole bunch of celebrity influencers to like talk about my product. And I say, well, that doesn't necessarily work if like you don't have people who have really used your product and can vouch for your product. So I think it was like a whole Kesmet situation, because when that person shared, it was at a time, it was over 2 years after my brand had already been, creating our own customer awareness and product awareness. And so when people from her page came over to our brand, it wasn't like a new something. It was like, oh, wait a minute, what is this? I see all these consumers here talking about this. Like, why haven't I known about this? So I think, definitely, influencers and all of that helps with product awareness, but it has to be authentic. Otherwise, I think that consumers can see right through that.
Yeah. And I've been working in marketing for the past 7 years at luxury beauty brands. So one of the biggest things that we've seen is like when there's a story of transformation, that's what people really like connect to, especially with your transformation, because people themselves naturally want to transform into their highest self or their best version of themselves. So, just I think maybe tapping into that is exactly what you did. Okay, we have a bunch of questions, so we're gonna do like a rapid fire round. We're like, I'm gonna ask these questions and then we're just gonna get through them because there's a lot. Okay. Do you have an affiliate program?
We do have an affiliate program, and it's on our website. Please visit our website, www.bodycompleterx.com. And there is a page. There's actually a page on there where you can sign up to be an affiliate.
Amazing. I put the website in the chat so you guys can go on there and find that. Okay, next question is, I noticed that most of your products are kits. Why did you decide to package your products this way, and what was your motivation behind that?
Yes, they are. So the original product package, it was a weight management package. And so for me, I was taking a product that was controlling my weight or controlling my appetite. And then I was using B12 drops or B12 infusions at the time. So I was going to a weight loss clinic in the Maryland area, and my doctor was prescribing for me phentermine, a weight loss like pill. And then also I was getting B12 infusions, for in my blood. And so those were the two products that I was using at first, before I started to say, okay, can we make a plant-based version of this? What I'm doing right now is something that is more easily ingestible and consumable for our customers. So those were the products that I was using. So when I went to create my brand, I said to the laboratory, I want to create these 3 products. I want to have a product that's going to help me control my appetite. I want to have a product that's going to help me with my energy, because my energy was down. And then also, by the way, I'm 34 years old and my metabolism is slowing down. And can we do something about that too? So those are the 3 things that I feel like when you're setting out on a weight loss journey, those are kind of like a critical, you kind of need a metabolism boost when you're setting out on a weight loss journey. Most people, you kind of need more energy, most people, and you need to control your appetite. So that is why we created it first as a kit. And then I think after the first years when we started selling the items separately, because obviously, people have different needs, right? And I saw that some of our consumers like, well, I don't necessarily need more energy, but I do need this appetite suppressant, right? So then that's when we started offering the products separately. But I think the kits are cool because it's an easy grab for consumers. Like they don't have to try to figure out like, what do I need? We're going to give you exactly what you need. Like
it's more like functional based, like exactly if you buy this kit, what it's going to do for you.
So it's just kind of like the pre and post pre-workout and protein box that we're about to launch. It's
Mhm.
more like about giving a functional, I'm giving this right to you. And even in our kits, we give a nutrition guide that Dr. Lathan helped us to develop. So with a meal plan and recipes and all of that. So it's kind of like I try to set you up for success in my brand with the kit, with the meal plan. We send out a mailer every Monday, all of that.
Love it. Love it. There are a couple questions here about, how long you've been living a vegan way of life, if that's the way that you live, and like, sort of how did that journey begin?
So my personal eating style, I'm not plant-based. So I don't eat plant-based. I eat chicken, I eat fish. However, my formulas and my products, I wanted them to be plant-based because I wanted to have the cleanest product for any consumer. I wanted to be able to, any consumer to be able to use the product and not be turned away from it because it was not as clean as possible.
Okay, good. Well, that answers a lot of questions.
But let me say this. Anybody who follows me knows that every year I go on a 30-day raw vegan diet. And so I share that on my social media every year before my birthday. I go on a 30-day raw vegan diet and I share stories, that journey. And it's really cool. I love doing that as well.
Love that.
I have a highlight on my page too.
Okay, we'll have to go check you out on Instagram. Really quickly, and I know you've touched on this a little bit, but can you talk about how you've been basically able to build out your marketing strategy in different channels, I guess like online versus in store? So you mentioned like influencers, and you mentioned sharing your personal story, like your personal transformation on Instagram. I feel like that, for me, from what you've said, was a lot of your marketing strategy, even though you didn't realize it was.
Yeah. So if you go to our website, you'll see that we're currently looking for a director of marketing because right now we actually do not have a director of marketing and haven't had so for a bit. So, what you see in terms of what's going on with our marketing is really just kind of in my brain space right now. I've kind of been functioning and running as like our marketing advisor to my team. But we're currently actively, and we have a headhunter right now. We're currently desperately actively seeking a marketing director in our brand. So if you guys know anybody in this call, shoot them our way.
Yes, please. Okay, another question is about, many startups and entrepreneurs that begin a startup usually have an intention to like exit or like IPO, sell. What is your long-term vision for your company?
My long-term vision is to sell. I do want to one day sell Body Completer X and be able to just live a beautiful life with my children, my family, and not be out. But also feel like even when you sell, I mean, this has all been a journey because at one point I was like, hey, one day I want to sell and go off on an island and be done with it, right? But as I'm growing and I'm meeting mentors who have sold their billion-dollar companies and they're still out here mentoring me, that speaks so much to me about the responsibility that we have as founders and as CEOs of these companies. We can't just get in here, build these companies up, sell, and leave. You have to stay around. It's a responsibility that we have. So that is, something that's very important to me. I do intend to sell, but I still intend to stick around, and I want to mentor. I want to be available to people how my mentors are available to me.
I love that. And just a quick tangent, how can people reach out to you who are listening in now? Like, what is the best way to contact you? Is it DM on Instagram? Is it an email?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is Samia Gore. It's just my name. You can DM me. I'm responsive there. Or you can email me. My email is also in my bio on Instagram as well.
Amazing. Looks like Noah's back. Does that mean that we're at the end of our time?
You can keep going for like another 5 minutes if you'd like.
Well, we definitely have a couple more questions. So let me see what some of the questions are.
Do it.
Um, okay. Can you elaborate on your timing and how that played into your financial position? I think you kind of mentioned this already, how you were kind of like bootstrapping, like you didn't have a lot of money at the beginning. You were spending like $5,000 of your own money, which we actually didn't get to. What were you doing before you even went
Oh,
into doing this? Like, what was your job?
yeah. So I was working as a federal government employee. I used to work for the Department of Veteran Affairs as a training manager in the HR department. And so I used to develop training resources for HR managers for the VA. And that was
Wow.
my job. Like I said, I have a master's in business. I got when I was 25 from Central Michigan University, but I was never considered myself to be an entrepreneur ever. Like I never saw myself in that realm. I always saw myself in, get a good job and, work up the ladder. So really, this is why I really feel like this is my ministry that God has placed me in, because didn't see this.
Yeah. Well, you have come a long way since then. Okay. Last question. What do you think were the greatest bottlenecks and blockers with bootstrapping your business? I think there's a lot of questions with that because I think there might be a lot of entrepreneurs in this
Okay.
talk.
The greatest bottlenecks with bootstrapping, you have to really know your numbers, one. Sometimes knowing your numbers as an entrepreneur can be very uncomfortable. In certain seasons of your business, you have to always stay in your numbers and know your numbers, because you don't have this large investment. And so you're really sometimes working down to, okay, this last $1,000 has to make sure that this returns, so I can make sure that I can purchase more product and continue to keep my company in business. So what I say is, like, if you're bootstrapping, you're going to have to know your numbers front and back. You're going to need to be sure to make sure that you make wise financial decisions, right? Tell everybody, my first year in business, I didn't have an accountant because, again, it was kind of like I didn't even really think that I was going to be doing all of this, and I wasn't expecting all of this money to come and all of this. And so I had to go back and have an accountant come and rework numbers and figure out, like, okay, like you got to pay this large tax bill from this year because you weren't doing things properly. So these are all things that you as a new business owner and starting up, you're going to have to just get into those numbers. It's really important.
Thank you so much. It was so wonderful speaking with you. I'm really sorry that we cried a little bit, but I felt like it was amazing.
You're fine. Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate you guys having me. It was really cool.